Be not deceived. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
All right, it's 4 p.m. on Wall Street. Do you know where your money is?
How much should I invest?
I really looking for some direction.
Should I hold on to my house as an investment for my future?
What should we do to have money that we're putting aside?
Welcome to Financial Issues, where we align reality with truth. Conservative talk radio you can count on. Financial issues that you need to know.
We face a disintegrating economy, a weakened defense, and an energy policy based on the sharing of scarcity. We will simply apply to government the common sense that we all use in our daily lives.
Now, here's your host, Dan Celia.
Good morning. Welcome back to Financial Issues. My name's Dan Celia. It's great to be here. Hey, we got, I guess, some good news for some folks. The government no longer owns any of GM. They sold the remaining shares of GM. They took a $10 billion, that's with a B, a $10 billion loss. But hey, what's $10 billion? That's not a big deal at all. Nothing we should be concerned about. But anyway, that's what's happening. The government is out. They are out. Remember, they have originally bought into GM or put into, in order to save GM. They took ownership of $49.6 billion worth of shares. They've just sold the last bid. And again, they've taken a $10 billion loss. But GM is left with all of the wonderful breaks that they got as a result of that deal. They're still left with, let me see, what would it be? What was that? I guess they got about 5 or 6 years left on all of that because it was a 10-year deal. But anyway, so you and I, as taxpayers, just took a $10 billion hit on that. But that's, has anybody figured out that the government really doesn't make very good choices? Not real good at picking winners and losers. Well, actually, they are good at picking losers. Not real good at picking winners. Anyway, oil futures jumped on inventories optimism. Oil futures shot up higher. That's not necessarily a good thing. It's a good thing if you're a futures trader, but not if you're a gasoline buyer. But oil futures jumped up this morning, primarily due to optimism over the weekly data on U.S. crude inventories that'll be out. So we are looking. I haven't even looked at the future at the commodities numbers yet, but I will get an opportunity to take a look at that here shortly. But anyway, that's where we are on. There's nothing to report on the markets other than yesterday was a positive day. The Dow finished up 5 points yesterday. The Nasdaq up 6, and the S&P up 3 points. Yes, there seems to be a little bit of taper news out there as now the Fed is taking center stage in reference to the market as a pullback into their stimulus program. Looks like it's inevitable. By the way, the Fed once again has proven that they have not been able. Ben Bernanke hasn't made an accurate prediction. This is the guys that some tout as this brilliant Fed chairman, and he's making forecasts and changes. Hasn't been right ever, I don't think. I'm sure there must be something. But if you might remember, maybe not, but I'm going to say it was 6 months ago or so, he pretty much promised that the bond purchases were completely be ended by the time we get to 7% unemployment. Now, he didn't quite anticipate the manipulation of the numbers to the point where we'd have it 6 months later after he said that. Even he knew, I gotta believe, or he wouldn't have said it, that there was little chance of us being at 7% unemployment in 6 months. Well, here we are, Ben. And according to your promises that we would not be having any more bond purchases, money printing, or whatever you want to look at, we wouldn't have that anymore. So but in fact, we do have it. Make no mistake about it. And that's still continuing. And thankfully, the Fed is on vacation. So that's been a good thing. Anyway, stock futures again. All the talk around the Fed president's talking yesterday. The idea that taper is inevitable. All of that is basically saying, putting a lid on any real positive momentum in the markets right now. Once again, saying that the idea of money printing as the stimulus for the economy is alive and well. Volcker rule takes effect today. There apparently are law firms all around the country, particularly in New York City, that are preparing their case to take this to court as a part of the Dodd-Frank bill, that this shouldn't be allowed. Now, basically, if you don't know what that is, all they're saying is that we think it would be in the best interest of investors to carefully consider whether they would, that banks should be placing bets, so to speak, engaging in aggressive or, I'll say, risky activity with the money that they have that is in fact their money, that is their capital reserves. And what this Dodd-Frank bill says is that Mr. Banker, you are not allowed to put your reserves at risk. Now, the idea of that is saying that if you put your reserves at risk, you're putting your depositors at risk, and more importantly, you're setting the government up for a potential another bailout. The bankers don't like that. They are going to task on it, and they are going to continue to fight that. 866-300-9698. Listen, folks, I've gotten an awful lot of emails about your financial questions. I've gotten a lot of other emails. What did I give the wrong number out? 866-300-9298. 866-300-9298. If you got a financial question for me, this would be a good week to ask that question. Good day to do it. 866-300-9298. So if you've got a question for me, give us a call, and we're going to try to get to as many questions on your financial stewardship, your situation, what's going on. Apparently they're thinking there's going to be a budget deal reached today. It's a possibility. By the way, the drop dead date, that the self-imposed deadline for this budget deal, by the way, the self-imposed deadline was December 13th. So they're going to reach a budget deal by December 13th. And if they reach a budget deal, maybe even today, the question is, what's it going to be made up of? That's what I care about. You heard me yesterday talk about the fact that they're contemplating cuts in military pensions as a part of this budget deal. I'm sure there's going to be some tax increases, and I'm sure that Republicans are looking to get as little press about reaching a budget deal as they possibly can. The last thing Republicans want is another government shutdown. The last thing that Republicans want is to be perceived as someone standing up for what is right for America. They wouldn't want to do that. They haven't done that in so many years. I don't even know if they know how to do that. But unfortunately, it didn't go over real well, according to the pollsters, for Republicans. And that's really all they care about. They don't care about much else. They care about that. So in all likelihood, they're going to try to ease on into a 14th continued resolution, or actually come up with a budget deal. Can you imagine having a budget? Now, here's what my opinion is. My opinion is they're not going to come up with a budget deal, because the continued resolution is the greatest thing that they've ever stumbled across on Capitol Hill. There's no accountability. It's a beautiful thing. They don't have to be accountable. Wouldn't that be great if you could just make deals and spend and not pay attention to the CBO, not have budgets and bills and stuff that are being scored by the CBO that you're going to be held accountable to? I mean, there's no budget. It's just another continued resolution, and that is likely what we're going to see. Some are calling for a cutback in sequester. I think that would be a mistake. Some are calling for more spending by government to spur the economy. And frankly, I'm not opposed to that to a certain extent. I am opposed to any further spending that is going to increase, Obamacare, good example, that is going to increase the size of government. I am not for something that has come out of the Brookings Institute says that, well, we should just have across-the-board increases in spending. That is lunacy, because that leads to a larger government, and you are making an assumption that those departments of government are going to be prudent, wise, conservative, and thoughtful about how, and efficient and effective in how they spend those additional dollars, which is more, I mean, that's crazier than even proposing such a thing. So we don't need an increase in the size of government. If there's any increase in the size of spending to spur the economy, it cannot happen unless there are incredibly careful restrictions placed on the money that is accountable day by day. So, if you want to build a new bridge, that has to be done. If you want to repair a highway, that has to be done. It immediately has to go for that usage. But keep in mind, states, counties, municipalities, and others are in deep trouble. And if you give them money, they're going to do like they did last time and use it to shore up their budgets, and we got to protect against that. 866-300-96 or 9298. Holy mackerel, what is this? 866-300-9298. President Obama is basically clueless when it comes to trying to create jobs. He is still talking about equality. Everything's about equality of wages, talking about the minimum wage, that it's about equality. This is not about equality. It's about creating government revenues through creating jobs. But since he has no idea on how to create jobs without embracing some sort of capitalism, he's going to continue to talk about equality. Equality is a wonderful and a beautiful thing. I've got nothing against it. But the fact of the matter is, we don't create equality in an effort to create a stronger economy. We've got to create jobs, and he better get about the business of creating jobs. Equality can be dealt with at some point in time in that process. But we better start creating jobs, and it doesn't look like that's in the cards. 866-300-9298. 866-300-9298. In speaking about Obamacare, there's a lot out about Obamacare, more information coming out about it every day. I got a message from someone yesterday that indicates that they now have confirmation. They have received confirmation that I am a racist because I refuse to stop using the word Obamacare. Then I didn't see this, but Devin Patrick, my producer, was telling me this morning before the show that apparently there was a piece on Fox News, Devin. What was it on? Oh, okay. MSNBC host over the weekend. Oh, that was part of that clip that we played yesterday. I didn't even catch that, I think, wasn't it? Or not? But there was an MSNBC host that has equated the word Obamacare to being a racist. Is that what it was? I think that's what happened.
Yeah, he said that it was a term that was created by old white men to separate themselves from the black man, and said that that's why they came up with the term Obamacare, was because they were racist.
So what does the young black man of President Obama think about that, since he said he loved the term?
Or
Obama.
The terms like Reaganomics.
Or Reaganomics.
Or, other terms that have been used. So,
well, as an old white guy, I will say that he coined the term, number one, and I really don't care if it aggravates people. I'm going to continue to use it. It's the best way to description. Now, we could go the other way and call it for what the real name is, the Affordable Care Act, but that's hard to say with a straight face because the word affordable is in front of it. And I would assume that we'll be seeing in mainstream media the word affordable, and we're all going to be talking about the CARE Act pretty soon. So we can laugh and call it Affordable Care Act, or we can call it for what the president said he rather liked, and that would be Obamacare. His name is on it, because he owns it. It's his program, which means, I guess, that it's his failure, and now all of a sudden he doesn't like that. 866-300-9298. We'll be right back.